Kane, it's 1-0. We're fucking down. 13th in the championship. The takeover happened as I said it would. People will be. Oh, when have we got Leeds? Now then, people, and welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show, and of course, another edition of Late Night Leeds. I hope you're all doing well. This is a negative-free zone this evening, I think. I think we're done. I think the end is nigh, you know. It certainly looks that way. And as the day wore on, I became more and more positive. And what better way to share in that positivity than with the Late Night Leeds crew and an extra edition tonight. Good friend of mine, Liam Horsley, formerly of the MOT pod. Yeah, we were chatting earlier on. I said, are you free? He said he was. I said, right, let's talk Leeds United. Liam, how are you doing, brother? You all right?
Yeah, I'm doing good, thanks, mate. I'm glad to be coming on a day when you're feeling more positive, because that's been
exactly, man.
Not very often.
Bleak. No, it's been bleak, hasn't it, mate? Let's be honest. But for reasons, though. Yeah. There has been reasons, but it looks like there's light at the end of the tunnel. Andrea, as the days gone on and developed, I know you're on holiday at the minute, probably enjoyed England reaching another World Cup final. You know, it's what we do. You know what I mean? This is what we do. But yeah.
Sorry, how many World Cup finals have you played?
Yeah, I hear it. I realized as I said it, I was like, shit. I realized as I said it, bro. I realized as I set it up, I was like, shit, what have I done? But how you doing, brother? You okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm positive too, because like we said on the other day, you know, if we get past those clauses and finally cut those ties with the past, we'll be fine. And today feels like a new dawn, especially after what Clarke said. Yeah, a new dawn, and especially because after what Clarke said, it feels positivity, because now we know that we can retain those players. It's back in our hands. We don't have to be sitting and watching, you know, other clubs activating and triggering those clauses. Now it's in our hands. Yeah. And clearly we can plan to invest in specific areas without worrying to lose other players, you know.
Yeah, no, exactly, mate. And you know what? I got that initially, Ben. I went into panic stations about these contracts initially, because I was like, oh my God, we got JKA Mark II. But then after, and we're seeing, you know, Daniel Farke do the Sky piece, for example, and the Athletic write-up, it was clear, for me anyway, as a fan, I could see there's no way the club sanction that if they don't know that things are about to change. This new group have been pretty tight-lipped when it comes to any sort of media, and they've fronted him up to Sky, and he's been able to, I guess, sit there with a bit of chest, because he knows around the corner it's going to get busy for Leeds United, but busy in a good way, right?
Yeah, your stream represented it perfectly. From the start of it, you miserable, and then just threw out at you. At the end of it, you go, "We're going to win the league."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you know what? I've even been taking shots at Locks again in the WhatsApp group.
But yeah, like you said, that short 2-minute interview on Sky was definitely done for a reason, wasn't it? Like, as far as I'm aware, there wasn't any more of the interview, right? That was it.
That I mean, maybe Friday there might be a longer piece for the game.
They released that bit now. For
exactly.
Yeah, like that. Like Andrea said, it's a new dawn, isn't it? It feels now, even though it's only a few weeks, that we can actually move on, and we can be the team now saying we want 60 million for Tyler Adams, like Southampton are doing and all that. So yeah, it just feels better, doesn't it? It feels like a weight off your shoulders. Just waiting, looking forward to the news now, hopefully in the next few days.
That's what I'm saying. Liam, are you expecting now, like, Leeds United to go full pedal to the metal?
Yeah, I think so. I think we still might need that one sale, whoever that is, whoever they deem is that one. Yeah. Whether it's Gnonto, that Spurs thing seems to be real, maybe, or whether it's Tyler Adams somewhere else. I think we probably still need that one sale to really go crazy towards the end of the window. But yeah, I expect us, maybe not for Friday, but for the game after to get some bodies in. But then I think the last 2, 3, 4, 5 days of the window are going to be nuts. So you'll probably be doing like 24-hour streams in a suit with a yellow tie or something.
100%, bro. I'm getting stocked up on the monsters and the boost. Trust me, I'll be here. I'll be here. Don't go anywhere. I'll be here for sure. But I'm expecting it to be get a little bit frantic now, and I think, to be honest, after the couple of weeks we've had since the season started, we deserve it, man. We deserve it. We deserve Leeds United to go a bit wild within reason. Liam, you touched on that sale. Gnonto side, because he's a snake and all that sort of jazz. But let's just take that equation out of it for a moment. Which makes more sense for you in terms of a big sale for Leeds? If we need to sell one, which one are you okay with leaving? Is it Cini? Is it Adams? Is it Gnonto? Like what? I guess already you like Gnonto because it's programmed in there, isn't it? Try
yeah, logically, because I hate him now, it's probably Gnonto.
Yeah,
but,
exactly.
I think Tyler Adams is probably the best bet all round in terms of, I think he's going to go for much more than Gnonto. Because of how many minutes he's played top level, obviously in the World Cup as well, and the fact that Gnonto's done this is going to put some teams off. It is going to like almost forcibly lower his valuation. So yeah, I think Adams probably, because it will allow us to get the most money. And I'm in the camp that he's not great on the ball. I know some people really hate that thought. But,
no, it's true, bro. It is true.
Yeah, I think if we're having 70% possession in games, he's still going to be important. He'll win the ball back, but I don't think we're going to see what you saw of him when he played for like the USA and maybe in some of the bigger games that we played okay in last year. So yeah, I think he's probably the safer one to sell, just to gives us more money. But I'd still probably bet it's Gnonto just because of the situation. I just think Spurs seem to be the perfect sort of club for a player like him as well, because I think they can afford him because of the Kane sale, and he probably won't have to play massive minutes for them as well, so he can still develop. But yeah, I would sell Adams just for more money, but I think it probably is Gnonto.
Yeah, it's a good shout. And just while we're on Gnonto, actually, we've had a great super chat coming from Callum Johnston, who is an Everton fan. Big up to you, mate. He says, I'm an Everton fan. I just wanted to pop in and see some positivity. Yeah, it's been bleak up to this point, bro. You've caught us on a good day. It says a big club who doesn't deserve to have its fans stressing about the direction it's going in. I think that's fair, mate. Thank you. It says, love the passion, Joe. Big up to you, mate. And he says, good luck for the season. P.S. No bid was put in. Okay, so there is talk, obviously, Callum, that a third bid went in and has been rejected. Whether or not that went in, obviously, you might be closer to it than what we are, being an Everton fan. But I'm expecting Everton to go back in again. That seems to be the reports. I was watching a stream of some guy on Twitter actually just before, who was a journalist, saying that he's expecting Everton to return. Andrea, obviously the figures that are being bandied about at the minute for Gnonto, we're talking 25 million with add-ons, etc. For me, it's really refreshing to see the club operate like this. That they've had a stance, and they may have to bend on that stance and let him go, and that's fine. But they're doing this to make sure they get the biggest amount possible, right? So it's great to see the club operating in this way. And how much do you think we will actually get for him in the end, Andrea?
Yeah, I think we should go around 50
That's
million.
better, by the way, bro, because I've seen you stressing.
Better.
That sounds better. Yeah.
Okay. No, you see, old ones are better than the new one. Technology sometimes is it's regress instead of progress. You know?
I could see you going like this, testing. I was like, you're stressing.
I read the chat, so
I
saw that they weren't hearing me properly, so I changed them. Go back to went back to for the old-fashioned ones. You know, yeah, I think Gnonto is not for sale. You know, they said that in the statement. Is not they're planning the season with him, but in the end, you know, on Sinisterra, we don't know if was his choice, of if they decided to sit him out because they needed to clarify their contractual situation, the legal part of it. We know for sure that Gnonto refused to play because it wasn't said in the statement, explaining the statement of the club. So how can you find a way back into the squad for a player who refused to play for the club, not just once but twice, and probably is going to refuse again to take part on Friday? Yeah. So for the third time in a row, you know. Yeah. Honestly, I think, of course, now we know that those clauses have expired, so we have a better idea of who's staying and who's going. Yeah. But I still think we need to sell at least one player in the end, and I think that player will be Gnonto.
Right.
And honestly, if it's 25 million plus add-ons in the region of 30, take it. Honestly,
Yeah.
30. If the add-ons take the whole sum up to 30, I'll take it. And honestly, we'll have money to reinvest to stay within FFPM, PNS, profit and sustainability. You know, especially because also it needs to clarify the fact of Sinisterra, because if Sinisterra is just a legal procedure, you know, that when they were checking his contract, you know, is closed. We still have a lot of wingers. If Sinisterra becomes available again for the game against West Brom, Gnonto instead. When you take a look at the whole squad, including Adams and Sinisterra, for example, if you decide to reinstate him into the squad, I still play, honestly, other players. Honestly, Somerville and Sinisterra, I think they get ahead of him if we bring in a number 10.
Yeah.
If we bring in a number 10, I think you play Sinisterra on the left, maybe, and Somerville on the right. You know, then you can interchange them. We've seen them inverting their positions a lot. So if a player needs to go, like Liam said, I think it will be Gnonto. For me, I think Adams, no club offers more than 20, like the sum of the clause. I don't see a club offering 30 million for Adams, to be fair. And I think
you don't think?
No, I don't think a club's offers 30 million for Adams. I think 20 was a good price in the end, but look at that. You know, Chelsea, of course, they called him in for the medical. He went down there. Didn't happen because they decided they capitalized on their opportunities with Lavia and Caicedo, of course. It was the better choice, of course, because they are two hell of a player. You know, they are two very good players. He had the opportunity maybe to go to Brighton. There were rumors about them being interested, but nothing serious, to be fair. And the other club rumored to be interested and about to trigger the clause, you know, because it was even reported by Fabrizio himself, was Bournemouth. There were no other clubs involved. All talked about, apart Villa too, but nothing serious again. Otherwise, they would have triggered the clause instead. So probably they'll end up staying now that the clause has expired, of course. So my pick is Gnonto,
Yeah, and the big difference with Adams, which we know up to this point, folks, that he's training with the group. He's not even been set aside.
Exactly.
So I think, and I'll get the lads' thoughts on it, but for me, the way that Farke was speaking on the Cine situation, the door's clearly still open. He's willing to accept him back in once this issue is resolved. He was very clear in making sure that the situation was different between Gnonto and Cine. And that came across. And look, Adams is training with the squad. So that says a lot for him, because I know, myself included, because the state I was in at the time, even I thought, I wish they were injured so we could know if they're doing it as well. But obviously he's still training with the squad, which is good. So yeah, there's clearly a way back for Cine. I'm going to go to some super chats. I brought some things down that I want to discuss as well. I'm trying to get that. I'm putting my pen so I don't miss things. But Michael with the super sticker, big up to you, Michael Prentice. Thank you, mate. Eltel on the Banks Royal Blue Mersey says Everton have put a third bid in, according to Toffee TV, 25 million plus. The last Everton fan was mistaken. Hope Leeds United come straight back up. We know how you feel. Good luck for the season. Thank you very much. I was aware there'd been another bid gone in, mate, as well. Well, that's what I believed. Anyway, I'm not being made aware. I've not been contacted. Like, we're just going to put this in, mate. All right. Cheers, pal. Thank you.
Gnonto burnt all these bridges, you know, with that move.
Yeah, definitely. He says you get rid of Gnonto because his attitude is beyond questionable. And Ampadu Adams double pivot is exciting in the Championship. I do think, and I'll come to you, Ben, on this. You know, I think Liam's bang on Adams's capabilities, and he's easily, and I say that, no, I do say it with chest, he's easily replaceable in the Championship. I'm not saying we could have got someone in the Premier League that could have done what he did last season. He was one of our star turns. But in the Championship, with the money you can recoup for him if he was to be sold, and we hold the cards now, as we were saying off air, he is easily replaceable, right? But on the flip side, defensively, with Rodon, Strauch, Byram, and a new right back, hopefully, and Adams and Ampadu in front, that's strong. There's not many teams will cause that back line problems for me.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Tyler Adams' contribution to the team last year when he was in the side was phenomenal. Let's be honest. He's sweeping up a play and he's just, but yeah, he's not progressive on the ball, but he can sweep it up and give it to the people that are. And I think, yeah, he's one of them because he's a really good player. And I personally would like him to stay, like you guys said, and sell Gnonto. I think that's where the funds can come from potentially.
Yeah.
I just think he'd be really good in this side. He's not necessarily suiting a possession-based side, is he? Let's be honest. He's not great on the ball. He's not as good as Ampadu. We'd bring a player in who is really good on the ball. But if we're talking about a 46-game season here and different sides require different kind of formations or different tactics, Tyler Adams is let's not forget about his qualities. He was really good for us last year when he played. And he's also got that leadership. And actually, the fact that he's training with the side, Daniel Farke stated that he's only training with the side if you're 100% committed.
Yeah.
Now, I get it. He was in London trying to make a move, but in terms of separating that from the football, he wouldn't have missed training for that. He did, he's been injured, hasn't he? So he's clearly separating the commitments of wanting Premier League football to the commitments of training, which Gnonto didn't, hence why he's not in the squad. Yeah. But in terms of Adams himself, yeah, he is replaceable. Sinistera for me isn't. Honestly, I don't think you can get someone with his
as good.
quality. Yeah. You could get two or three players if you sold him, obviously, but I want him. I want him in on that left side. I just think he'd be phenomenal. And with Tyler Adams, yeah, his attributes are good, but they're very limited in what he can do. So they can be replaceable. And if you can get 20 to 25 million for Tyler Adams, of course you can regurgitate that into 2 or 3 depth players that we need desperately in this side. So for me, like you said earlier, Gnonto and Adams, but yeah, not Sinistera at all costs for me. Just keep Sinistera, honestly.
I agree with you. And look, let me just clarify for the chat. No one on this panel here is saying Adams is a bad player. No one on this panel is saying that Adams wasn't great last season. He was one of our best players, and he was probably the only signing of the last 12 months that's actually bloody worked. Let's be honest. The rest were rubbish. None of them are here. But I do think his attributes and what he can bring can be replaced. Whereas, like Lockie says, Cine, he's an elite player for me anyway. He shouldn't be to be honest, he should have never gone to Leeds. Like, I think we were lucky to even get him, to be honest. This was a guy that was doing bits in the final. Was it the Europa League or the Conference League? Conference League, right? Yeah. But even still, he was a star turn that season for Feyenoord. Do you know what I mean? So we probably did well to even get him. But yeah, we're not battering him. We're just saying that, there you go. Let me just check this actually, because I did. This is Mike from Blue Boys Network. Top guy is Mike. Great content creator, by the way, as well. Was actually a picture of me and you yesterday, wasn't there, Mike? It was quite funny. Someone. So there was like this hashtag, like share your best moments at Leeds. And this guy was in front of Billy's statue. And he said, my best moment was when I took my daughter to her first game. And someone spotted me in the background. Someone so it said, Joe, I swear that's you. And it was me and Mike. We met before the game. It was quite funny, actually, before Everton. And I was just stood there in the background. But he says Everton will put a fourth offer in at 28 million. Liam, if it was 28, and obviously that'll include add-ons, and how achievable are the add-ons? I'd have snapped their hand off for the bid earlier on at 25 million, if I'm being totally honest, Liam. I don't know where your head's at.
Yeah, I think his ceiling's really, really high, but
yeah,
if you watched a lot of last year, there was a lot of games where he wasn't very good.
I know some of
that's a system, but sometimes it became very much like, okay, right, drag the ball out to the left, go on the outside, cut back in on my right foot, and it was just the same process, game in, game out. So yeah, I'm with you. 28 million is a good fee. I would mention the sell-on clause, though, that obviously that his old club has. We believe it's quite high. No one knows how much it is, but if it's 28 million with a 40% sell-on, then the money for the club is a lot less. But I agree. I'd say his valuation is probably about that 30 million. And then when you've got a player who doesn't want to play for the club, like you're not going to be able to get more than fair valuation. People just won't pay you it. So yeah, I'd agree. 28 mil with 10-20% sell-on clause for us seems like a fair deal, I think, and just get him out of the club. And that probably helps some of Cine as well, because they seem to be quite close as a 3, and it is a little bit like, right, let's just move on.
Just break it up. Break up the little boys club. Do you know what I mean? Break it up on your bike kind of thing.
Honestly, only Everton are for the level of the player, for me, it's too high. But if Everton are willing to offer that money, fair play to them. No Italian club is offering that money. Really.
Yeah.
For Gnonto right now, they won't even offer up to 20. Trust me, in Italy. So they will offer around 15.
On this sell-on clause as well, obviously, I was debating with some people on Twitter early on. Someone said it was 50. I said, there's no way we're giving half a transfer fee to another club. Then, like you said, 40. But then again, with 40, you never know. And then I've seen 15. And I don't know if there was a situation where it depreciated over time or potentially it was based on league position. I don't know. It seems very dodgy. But listen, as Farkas said earlier, we are the only team in Western Europe to have these sort of clauses in. It wouldn't surprise you if there is some mad clause that says if we get relegated, they get 90% of the fucking transfer fee. You just don't know.
I think I'd be shocked if it was 15, just because the press kept saying, like, I can't remember the phrasing, but
substantial,
and like 15 is not
standard,
is pretty standard. So it's going to be 20 plus if it is substantial. But maybe it's gone down if you get relegated. You never know. But it wouldn't shock me if it gets worse, just because none of Walter's contracts have gone well so far. So.
At least 20 for me. At least 20, because
Mike thinks it's 25. I mean, no one actually.
So with the selling clause,
the president said it was a very consistent. Just said very consistent sell-on clause when last season when we acquired Gnonto from Zurich. It didn't say the exact amount, but we can guess it's around 20, 25 when they place a very high sell-on clause, it's generally around 20 or 25. Yeah,
it's normally on the profit as well, so it won't be on the total fee.
That's what I was going to ask. Yeah, is it on the profit?
It's normally on the profit. So whatever, what was it? 3 million that we paid, was it?
Around the region.
Yeah. So 25 million, and then whatever percent of that. But if we sell him for 28, so I think it's a good deal because he doesn't want to be here. And it's a weird signing for Everton, though. I know it's not an Everton show, but I don't get it for them because Harrison fits it way more
100%.
than Gnonto.
And they're full of wingers: Harrison, McNeil, Danjuma, where it's not gonna start. It's not gonna start. So for that fee, for a player that doesn't want to be at Leeds, clearly was and a very bad attitude, alienating himself from the squad, from the fans who used to adore him, and had even a chant for him. Take the money. No other club is going to offer that money for Gnonto.
And it would get to the point as well where Everton can go, all right, we're not going to buy him. You be stuck with him then, aren't you? And that's their bargaining power as well, in the sense of saying, well, no one else wants him, he wants us, and he's refusing to play. So eventually there is going to come an impasse where both parties go, okay. And I think it is best for all. I just want to, just on Harrison, I just want to chat on Harrison because there's been a lot of, I mean, to be honest, I was gutted when he left. However, I've seen this goodbye message and I think it's an absolute joke. It is an absolute joke. I don't think I've seen anything as worse as that, if I'm being totally honest. In modern football, anyway, normally you get all fluff and all that, but it's that to me was brutal. Oh, check the results. Like what? Like it was brutal. 5 years, part of a big part in our history, Bielsa, etc. I was just pissed with it. So when I seen him in the Everton shirt, it didn't bother me. Genuinely, it didn't bother me. Good luck on your bike. But we were told he was injured. Everyone's kicking off because he's been seen running. I don't see the issue with it. At the end of the day, it's a still.
We don't know the intensity of that.
Exactly, bro. He could have just been jogging. He's not doing quick turns and he's not got... So I think people are getting a bit wild.
He just went on the pitch to take that photo with Everton. Just that, you know.
Probably.
They just brought him up.
Is medical at Villa because he was injured, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, he's injured.
Yeah, but you know, like Joe said, he was a big part of that team. You know, a team that we all adored. You know, of those players. You know, he always put in a shift. I didn't like personally especially after Bielsa left, the system didn't suit him, and he tended to stall too much on the ball and didn't turn. I didn't have the good tempo to turn with the ball when he used to hold it and create and attack the space or pass it and then attack the space like he used to do with Bielsa. You know, I think we should thank him for that goal at Brentford. Like Joe said, I'm not bothered about the
No.
message. He's always been a silent guy, of course, not one of the main vocal leaders. One of the spoken leaders during his time at Leeds. But if those are the words he likes to say, well, okay, Leeds United is still here. Like they say, the players and managers pass, but the club remains. So in the end, another player who didn't want to stay moves to another club. Leeds still in place, and hopefully another player will come in to replace him. We'll have the memories, but he could have written probably more words. But in his goodbye message, but we move on.
Yeah, we do. We move. Let me just get some super chats before we move it on. Christopher Junction said, "Is Positive Joe really back? We need to know." I'll let you know after Friday, mate. All right. Nah, to be honest, let's just have a quick brief chat about that. It's only 2 days away now. The fact that Daniel Farke barely touched on it, said it was going to be thin on the ground anyway. I almost feel like, Lockie, there's a resigned feeling that Leeds United know they're not going to get anything on Friday.
There's either that or the fact no one's talking about it means there's no pressure on it. So it might help.
True.
I don't know. The squad's still looking thin for Friday, and it's going to be a tough one, definitely. Yeah.
Got Sam Greenwood back, though. Amazing. Top player. At least Shackleton won't have to play right wing. That's the positive.
Exactly.
I think.
Yes. Poor lad. Yeah. Imagine on the coach. Shaq, you might need to go right today. Gnonto's not. He's not coming on. No. Imagine his face. Poor lad.
Yeah. Richard Ross says Everton Joe now turn their attention to PSV winger Bakayoko. PSG and Liverpool want him to. That might just be. I don't know. I don't know much about him. Is he better than Gnonto?
Yeah.
PRM says Dyche will not like Gnonto. He will be cast aside. Well, they have to put in a lot of work. Listen, I watched a lot of Everton towards the back end of the season. I had a newfound respect for Dwight McNeil and Alex Iwobi with the amount of graft they put in. I don't know whether Gnonto's got that, whereas Jack Harrison has it in spades. So that's why I think, like you were saying, Liam, Harrison suits. Daniel Lager says, "Hi Joe, do you see Gray and Ampadu partnership in the winter period?" I don't know what you mean, Daniel. I don't know what you mean, bro. Can they play together on a cold night in Stoke? Yes, they can. If that's what you're asking me.
Actually, Gray's ball for that, isn't
it? Maybe Joe is asking if you still see the two of them play together after a winter transfer window. I think.
Oh, okay. I would imagine so. But then again, no, they might look. If Adams stays, there might be Gray's minutes will be not as much, and I think that's best for his development. To be honest, if I'm being totally honest, do you agree, Liam? You were nodding your head just on Gray. We don't want to beast him, do we? At his age, man.
Yeah. He can play number 10 as well, though. So
yeah, true.
Especially off the bench. But I don't want to start talking about games in the future, but like Leicester, for example, if they're going to have a really attacking lineup, if he's your number 10, that's more like a high 8, like Bielsa style, kind of click high 8. I think that makes perfect sense. But you don't want to burn players out. He's very, very young to be playing the minutes that he's currently already playing, like to play against Shrewsbury and stuff. It's a lot of minutes. So I think if Adams is fit, he'll probably be the starter, and then there'll just be games where you can rotate. And if someone's injured at the back, one game at Ampadu at centre half and put Archie Gray in there for a game, it's not an issue. So I think it makes sense to give him a bit of a rest if Tyler ends up staying.
I was just going to say on Archie Gray as well, George, quickly. For me, right now, he's playing well, so obviously you keep playing him. There's nothing wrong with that. But the issue is, he's a young lad. He will burn out at times. He will be inconsistent. So we need depth. So when he's not playing well, someone can step in, because you can't have the pressure of being the only person, who has to perform because there's no depth. So that is important to have depth there for him.
100%.
He's 17.
17.
He had a great game versus Cardiff, but at Birmingham it was okay. So we don't need to rush him. We need to wait and oversee his development. So that's why we need depth. And especially we need to settle and find the perfect position for him, because for England he plays as a fullback. For Leeds he plays as a centre mid. He played also briefly, in the League Cup match as a number 10. Still think we need a proper number 10.
100%. Well, let's stay with that, because tonight Ilias Chair is not in the QPR squad. Okay, he's not in the squad. There's been a lot of clubs linked to him. Leicester, Southampton and Leeds United have been touted with an interest. I know that's one we'd probably all be on board with. Do we envisage it in happening? The fact he's not in the squad tells me he's going to move on. because you play Elias Chair, even though Gareth Ainsworth don't really play to his strengths at all. It's route one up to the big man, just totally bypasses him. But that's a positive. Are we positive about that? Hearing that news, or are we still in the mind? Like at the start of the window, I was like, oh, he's not in the squad. That means we're in. Whereas now, if someone says that, I'll go, yeah, and because I don't think we're going to get him anyway. But you know, what do we make to that Elias Chair?
I think he goes Leicester.
Going to Leicester, yeah.
Yeah,
I
really.
think that's what it means. Yeah, I'd love him. I'd love him. I really would. The only worry with Elias Chair is he's off the ball work, but on the ball he's really good. He'll be perfect playing for Leeds. But yeah, I think he's going Leicester. If I'm being honest.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna start a new party after the Poyampalo party and Rodon party. Bring us Laszlo Benes. Laszlo Benes.
Yes.
Okay. There's a couple more super chats. Christopher Junction says Sam Greenwood, also known as Joe's training partner. Yeah, we once were in the same job, same gym. Don't know where that came from. Joe worried Palace could be for Cree or Cine. Let's have a little chat about that, because I went on a stream. I haven't seen much of it. Not substantial like credible sources, but when I went on another stream, on the 12th Man podcast, there was an Eagles fan on there, and he mentioned Cree specifically and said, "Oh, we've been linked with him quite a few times." The fact that Elise is now gone, do you worry we could see a bid from Palace? For me, he suits their recruitment model as well. Like in terms of, if you think they picked up Eze, they picked up Elise from the Championship, it suits their recruitment model. I think he'd suit what they do. It would make sense for Palace to make that deal happen.
Yeah, what would the price be though?
Yeah, that's the thing.
It's difficult with him, isn't it? Because he's played well in spurts, but not had that consistent, not like Eze. Do you know what I mean? Where you're talking 30 games in the season.
Yeah.
So I think we might value him higher than what they'd be willing to pay. But they've obviously got a lot of money, because obviously Zaha was on a crazy wage for them for their structure. So yeah, I'm not sure. I think it fits perfectly. I've heard people talk about Jack Clarke as well for them. I think that would be a signing that probably costs less money as well for them. Yeah, does play similar style in terms of hug the touchline like they like on their left wingers. So yeah, I'm not sure. It just depends how much we value him. And obviously, it's good that we're in control now with having we can pick the fee that we want to pick. But I'd just be concerned for Palace, would they be able to want to pay what we would ask for Cree?
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. And to be honest, having seen Cree play, I'd love him to stay, because I think him, like Ben Lockie, you were saying earlier, to have Cree and Cine on either side of a new number 10 and hopefully a new number 9. I mean, come on,
it destroys any fullback in the league, doesn't it?
Yeah, yes.
1v1, them two 1v1 against any fullback in this league. I'm envisioning it now. I'm trying to think of them all. None of them are up for it. I'll be honest with you. No. I've seen him destroy Liverpool's defense. You know what I mean? So yeah, like. I'm struggling. Even though I still think we're going to lose the majority of our top players. I do,
right?
But hopefully for more money, if the right prices come in, we don't have to tell them for cheap now. But yeah. Look, Crescencio Somerville, even in the Cardiff game, some people think he didn't play well. I thought that second half he was the player in our team that wanted to win that more than anyone else, which really encouraged me. And he was playing down the middle as well. He wanted every time we had the ball, he was demanding it and he was running with it. Even if it didn't come off, he'd go again, he'd try again. And yeah, for me, Chris Somerville, you've got to keep him for me.
Yeah, for sure. Someone asked in the comments about Ashley Roberts asked about Harwood Bellis. Can we make it happen? Now, I spoke to someone earlier on who basically had said that Man City were requesting around about 15 million. In order to acquire him, but they want to insert a buyback clause in that, which makes sense with what a lot of these clubs are doing. We've seen them do it with Lavia. We've seen Aston Villa do it with their prospects as well coming through. If Cameron Archer goes, they'll probably do it with him as well. But if no one's willing to get up to that level and no one's willing to, pay the 15 million, then they will look at the loan market for him. Liam, it makes sense for Leeds United if they're not willing to put £15 million down. which is quite a lot of money for us in the Championship where we are. It may make sense for us to at least be in that loan. Although, having spoke with Leicester fans, they're also in there for him. And you've got Maresca, you've got Doyle already there. It's a tough one.
Yeah, I'd be shocked even like for Leicester to spend that much money on that position with like how their squad already looks. Especially with, depends what the buyback clause is as well. If they put the buyback clause at like 22 million, it's like you can have one great season and then you're like, okay, right, we're going to have to sell him in 18 months, 2 years time. But I think 15 is probably too much for us. But in terms of loan market, it depends what he wants, because he's going to play every single game for Leeds. He probably will for Leicester as well, but I'd say the competition's a lot worse at Leeds for him to be able to play. And it just depends. Depends what he wants. And probably part of it will be who can sell him what he wants. Obviously, their manager's got a connection with him already, which is probably the worry for us. But if he likes the way that Clarke plays and wants to play in that sort of system, a little bit like Burnley did in terms of high press and pass the ball around and build up from the back, then I think it makes sense. But I can't see anyone in the Championship paying that much money. So I think it'll be then up to the player on what project he wants. And I was reading something earlier that was talking about like, why would he ever choose to come to Leeds? But if Leicester are offering 60% of his wages and we offer 100% and we just go all in, then Man City will accept whatever deal's best for them, aren't they? So
of course they are.
And
there's still a chance.
I saw in an interview as well recently where Daniel Farke's good friends with Pep. They're good friends. They're good mates. He spoke about him in an interview, said they're close. So it's a little phone call, you know. He plays great football.
He's going to Leicester for me because
I'm saying that, Andrea.
I know. Is there anyone? Is there anyone Leicester out having Andrea?
You can't sign all of these.
Honestly, if he's dropping down to the Championship, because the player is really good for me. We haven't seen that in the under-21 Euros, so it would be a no-brainer for any lower table Premier League club, or mid-table, if they want to make a permanent. Honestly, if he drops down to the Championship for me, especially for the system right now, we have, of course, Keeper is injured, but you have Strauch, Cresswell, and Rodon. So who do you play if Arwood Bellis signs? Rodon and Arwood Bellis, and you have Strauch out of the squad, out of the starting lineup, of the starting 11, And honestly, I don't see Strauch dropping out of the starting 11. Honestly, under this manager, under this system. So I think they'll look to sign a player as a sub, as a squad option, not one like that. And I think like now with Cody injured too for Leicester, it makes sense for them, especially if they lose about Files, because there's rumors of him leaving. It would make total sense, especially after they sold Madison, Barnes. They have a lot of money to spend. So, and I think 15 million for a Championship club is way too much to spend in a season. But honestly, if the price is 15 million, honestly, a Premier League club mid or lower table is it will be the perfect choice for him. And if they're wise enough, they will try to give a call to Man City and bring him to their club, because like Chelsea did with Colwill, Colwill had a great season with Huddersfield. They sent him on loan out at Brighton, had a great season too, and now he's in the starting 11 at Chelsea. I think that's the path Man City has to follow with Howard Bellis for me.
I'm just looking now, though. I don't think Howard Bellis played under Madrasta, the 23s.
Easy for you to say.
I can't speak. I'm terrible.
Enzo Maresca.
Maresca, that's the one. I don't think he played. I think he was on loan while he was there, because he was only the coach for 1 year.
Yeah, but lucky when he trained under the senior team at Manchester City, Maresca was the assistant of Guardiola. So obviously they know each other. And honestly, Pep, like we've seen with Connor Doyle,
I want this one, Andrea. I want this one.
Yeah, I know he's a good player, but honestly, we already brought in Rodon. I don't see Parker dropping out both of the two left-footed centre backs, Strauch and Cooper. Honestly,
yeah,
I think one of
I'd rather sign a player in a different position as well. I know everyone obviously moans about centre backs for the last couple of seasons, but there's many more areas currently that we need to fix.
Yeah, I agree, Liam, especially because if we need to spend a lot of money and we need to invest properly, I'd rather invest 15 million for other players in other positions need, for example, the striker or the number 10, honestly, to be fair, than another defender where we have 3 defenders right now. I'd rather bring in another defender on loan, maybe from a Premier League club, but as a squad option. I think the starters will be either Strauch and Roden, and maybe sometimes Strauch and Cresswell until we wait for Cooper to come back, because I think Cooper still will get into the team, because I think Clarke likes him, despite the fact that he's not very fast with his ball movement when he has the ball, in terms of ball distribution.
No, I agree. I think Farker does like him. Callum, Super Chat, big up, says, Archer, Harwood, Bellison, Chair, and you guys are laughing back to the Premier League. I think we'll get 0-3 of them, though, Callum, to be honest. It says, then we'll see you at our new home next season. Maybe not, mate. You might go down. And then Gnonto will be asking to leave. LUFC Dan36 with the super sticker. Thank you very much for that. Liam, you mentioned them positions. For you, if you're in there now with Parag and Nick Hammond and that, what's the next position you target? Because Leeds United are going to be busy now. 2 weeks, I think it's going to be, after Friday, we're going to see a lot of incomings. So what would be your preferred position to go after first?
Yeah, I think if they know they're going to sell Gnonto, then I think probably number 10 for me is probably the most important position in this side. I know everyone wants a striker, but Farker's football generates chances. Obviously, you want a good striker that can put away those chances, but to create them is much harder than someone tapping them away for me. And how much we're going to have of the ball, you could see at Birmingham, just the lack of creation. Like, there wasn't even chances for people to miss, to be like, we need a striker. Yeah. It's like, well, no, we can't even create a chance at this rate. That's fair. For me, I would say number 10. I think it's harder to find a really good number 10 for this system than a striker that can score enough goals. If you're playing with Cini and Somerville, who I expect to score maybe 10 each if they're fit for the majority of the season. So yeah, I think most people, like I see on Twitter, want a striker, but I think number 10 for me is probably the most important.
Like, you could easily, it's conceivable you get 15 goals and assists each, don't you, from Cini and 15 GA, for example, from Cini and Somerville on either side. And then, like you say, if they're just cutbacks for a striker, of a sufficient level, could put them in. But I agree with you. I mean, even Bamford will be able to put them in, and that's saying something. I can't lie to you.
I'm still on Bamford Island over here, so I'm.
Are you still there?
I'm still there. Yeah,
I've left it, bro. I left it.
I know. I saw you get on the ship. So
yeah, I've had enough, mate. I'm now on the ship with Ailing as well. Get him out, man. I wrote down, actually, when we were talking about Adams, I was like, well, he's played right back. Why don't we just fucking stick him there? Because Ailing at the minute, wow. Right, okay, so creative, number 10. Do you know what, Lockie? And this name, I've seen it on Twitter earlier, and I'm convinced we might actually get it, is one you mentioned. Is it Elzate from Brighton?
Brighton, yeah. 10 or an 8, him. You can do it either role.
Right, okay.
You can even play CDM as well. You can play defensive. Yeah. Where have you seen that? Is that on Twitter? I didn't see that. I've
just seen someone mention it, talking about it. That's all. It was Tom Wilson. Tom Wilson from Focus on Leeds. I think Ethan Online had mentioned, and then Tom Wilson said Elzati, and he said, "Oh, is he still at Brighton?" And then it made me think about what you said, and I was like, "Do you know what? Because it's very quiet on him. Why not? Why not?"
Yeah, like I said, he went in the Brighton side last year. He went on loan, started Liège, did well. I think he was unused sub at the weekend for Brighton. I don't think he's in the plans as deserved, to be honest. And he's one of them players. I think he would drop down. I genuinely would do for a top side in the Championship, and I just think he'd be great for us. Whenever I've watched him in limited, obviously, but I just like him. I think he's got that flair on the ball, that technical ability. He can drive forward with it. Despite his then stats, he can also defensively is quite good. Putting tackles in and stuff like that. He's that for me, that player who can. I don't know whether you'd play him as a 10 or an 8. That's the thing. I think he can do both, to be honest. But he is very creative. He'll create chances himself. He can create chances for wingers. Yeah, and a guy like that or Oscar Bob for me are two players that I'd love genuinely. I think Elzati as well would be one of them players. I think it's a bit of a statement if you could get someone like that. I know Brighton have got quite good negotiators, but I think the price could be all right. Especially a player that's not wanted. I think you get a decent price for him. Interesting.
Yeah.
I'd love him. I really would.
Another player that's been mentioned by Leeds fans, no massive credible sources, Andrea, but Lewis O'Brien. I see a lot of the chat mentioning him as well. I think he'd be perfect for us. And I did read or was tagged in a report that says Nottingham Forest had blocked to move to Sheffield United. I don't think they want him in the Prem. As competition, really, because that's what it would be if he's improving. Because Forest will still be of the thinking that we're still down there, right? So they don't want him going to a club like that could help increase their chances of staying up, and therefore, a loan could be on. Surely we managed to get it this time. Surely.
Can I just say as well, Forest they've done his career, haven't they?
Yeah.
Did they not register him when he signed? It was something like that, or was it too late? I can't remember, one of the two.
No, they registered him initially, but then when they got the more players in, he didn't make the cut. And
So
then
he had to go to the MLS.
He was supposed to go to Blackburn. He was supposed to go to Blackburn, but the EFL won't ratify it because he'd missed the deadline. So then he had to go to the MLS. So.
And now they're not letting him go to another rival.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
No, but you know what? In the end, if he doesn't go to Sheffield United because they're refusing that move, in the end, Sheffield United will get on loan, probably Tommy Doyle, and O'Brien will be available for the Championship, like you said. In the end, I think it makes perfect sense in that squad specifically, because you will have, for example, Ampadu and Adams, O'Brien and Gray, for example, with Shackleton as the final option. And
Shackleton is on his way out of the football club. Is that what it is?
No, League One.
Yeah. Honestly, O'Brien will be perfect because he is a box-to-box midfielder. As the physicality we lack tremendously of physicality in the middle. Even on Friday, we'll play against a physical team in the middle. They have Yokuslu and Chaloba, for example, all physical players too. Even Swift too has a little bit of physicality in him, despite the fact he plays as an advanced midfielder. That will be perfect sense, absolutely. And the fact is, because Loki mentioned it previously, that people just remember him because they say that's the guy who was left out by Nottingham Forest, out of the squad. That's not fair. He was a tremendous midfielder in the Championship with Huddersfield. He was tremendous, absolutely. And we should thank him too, because he was instrumental in that win of Huddersfield against West Brom when we got promoted to. But really, he has both. He has vision, he has the pace, he has physical, he chases players. Actually, he's very good defensive. He's similar to Adams in that specific field. I will take him over Glenn Kamara all day long, honestly, because the world talks about Glenn Kamara too. We're criticizing Gnonto now because he refused to play and he's been training on his own, but Kamara is doing exactly the same as Ranger. He's training on his own. So honestly, I take Lewis O'Brien all day long ahead of Glenn Kamara, to be fair, for this specific system.
Yeah, we've had every week. Yeah. We've had a couple of questions from people just asking about specific players. One name that was mentioned was Jake Cooper. I know you have quite a lot about Millwall, Andre. You seem to do anyway. You know a few players, and I think it's just your scouting brain. Would he suit what we're trying to do at Leeds United, Jake Cooper?
Well, as an option will be like, of course, I didn't consider Albert Barris before because I think if we take Albert Barris, he will need to be a starter, and I don't think we could guarantee that right now, especially because I said he should go to the Premier League club. But Jake Cooper, as an option, honestly, of course, Millwall have always been recently a mid-table club. After last season, they are trying to do a little bit more, trying to challenge for the playoffs like they did last season. I think it will be a good option, honestly, a good option from the bench, not the starter, of course, but as a squad player, it would be a good fit, honestly. Yeah. Then, of course, he's not a outstanding player, but he does the essential things properly, and honestly, he's a reliable player, a very respected player in the Millwall dressing room, especially. He's they held him in IS team, at the end. So he's a reliable player, and off the bench as an option would be a good opportunity because he's a player that knows very much the championship, the level of the championship, and he's a physical player too. So as an option in the squad, it would be a good fit as an option as a substitute, of course.
Definitely. I think for me though, right, and I don't know if you agree with this, Liam, is these. I think we should be getting around 6 players in the door. I don't want them to be squad players. Do you know what I mean? I want them to be first teamers. I want them to be coming in and be really challenging for them starting 11 spots. Do you agree? Like that's what we need to be doing.
Yeah, I think if we keep Somerville, Cini, and Adams, it changes that.
Yeah, it's hard to improve that
because you've got some built-in starters there. But yeah, I would say there's other positions than a backup centre back that we need at the moment. But I wouldn't be against it for a backup option. I think if those guys stay, you're looking at probably 3 or 4 first teamers, like starters, and then maybe 1 to 3 on the bench, depending on how many we can get done. But yeah, no, I think Cooper makes sense as a bench option. The double Cooper centre back combo is what we need. And also, I think Millwall chuck him up front every time they're losing as well, because he's really good in the air, so he can be the new Rodon. So we don't need to do that again. But yeah, I do agree that if the next signing was another centre back, people would probably be like, okay, we've got like 5 more positions we need to sort out before we get another centre back. But I think he's fine. He'd be pretty cheap as well, because they're not a rich club in terms of finances. So I don't think it'd be a big fee, and I'm sure he'd be happy to be a bit part player. He plays left centre back as well, even though he's right-footed. So I think that fits what we need as well, with how often injured Cooper is. So yeah, makes sense, but that wouldn't be my next on the list.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. Ben Locke, striker's high up on everyone's list, and there's been this striker who's currently playing his trade in Scotland. I think it's for Aberdeen. Is it Duck? Is that how I pronounce it? Duke or Duck? What's the correct?
I'm sure you pronounce it.
Viduka at Celtic.
No. Oh, Viduka.
I know. I was joking.
I was like, what? Yeah, Duck currently. I feel mad saying that name, Duck. Playing. Where's he playing? Is he in Scotland? I believe.
Aberdeen. Yeah.
Aberdeen. Do you lads know much about him at all, or
not loads? To be honest, but I've looked at highlights. That's and his stats. That's all I can really go on. 16 goals, 6 assists last season. Is that 24? Is that right? 24 goal involvements in about 40 games. That's pretty solid, isn't it? I know it's the people who say it's the Scottish League, obviously. But that's not the best side. It's not played for Celtic or Rangers, is it? He's playing for Aberdeen. Not terrible, but for me, I don't know. Like, he looks quick, he looks direct. It's like he can finish as well. How much are we talking here? Is it a cheap deal?
Yeah,
if it's a cheap deal, I don't see, why not? Yeah, I don't know much about him. I'll be honest.
It'd be a cheap deal. I think he's got a slight reputation of laziness, which I'm not sure suits Sparks' high press. But his numbers are good for the way Aberdeen play. So, but yeah, there's some rumours that he's the lazier guy around the team, not the most hardworking in training and things like that.
Right.
Because someone who that we know as a family plays in midfield for Aberdeen, so there's some talk that he's not the most active players, but he scores goals for a team that don't create many chances. So
okay, I mean it's been reported by. Sorry, mate, I'll just come in. Darren Whitcup, who's saying that Duck is being monitored by a host of championship clubs, including Leeds, and I believe he'd said they'd gone to watch him against Celtic on Sunday in view of launching a bid before the transfer window closes. Southampton apparently interested as well. Portugal under 18 and under 19 level before he switched to Cape Verde. So in Aberdeen's 3-1 defeat to Celtic, the game reportedly watched by Leeds, Duck provided the assist for his side's only goal, before being replaced in the 78th minute. One to watch. Do you think?
To an experience for me, we need if you look at the transfer fee, of course, on Transfermarkt is around 1-2 million euros. There's other players with that price cheap who are more experienced and have played in top European leagues. You know what I'm adding, right?
I agree. I want that one. I do.
Yeah.
I want that one.
If you have to spend 2 millions to get from Aberdeen, Duke spent 3 million to get Gianpaolo from Venezia. Experience, played in the Bundesliga, played for Bayer Leverkusen, played for Union Berlin.
It's all quiet.
I think you need experience up
right?
front.
It's all quiet.
What, Lockie?
It's quiet.
Yeah,
on him.
It's going quiet, but there's a lot of interest, and then from other clubs. There were rumors about West Ham, there were rumors about Norwich, but I think Norwich are pretty good up front now. So
and with Archer probably go to Sheffield United by the looks of it. Cannon, I've seen today Alan Nixon talking about Preston are the only real team that putting a proper offer in for him. Pirro, I don't think that's going to happen personally. You're slowly looking at these options now, and Gianpaolo is kind of standing out for me at this point.
Yeah, I think, but Pirro, if Pirro leaves Swansea right now, another club with money is Middlesbrough, and it will make perfect sense for their system. Pirro, I think, if left to replace Akpon, Pirro will be the perfect replacement for them. Honestly, there's lots of people also mentioning Pavlidis, for example, but I don't see that happening because he had a breakthrough season, in the Conference League for AZ, and he has a lot of suitors in Europe, also in Italy, Bologna, for example. Dovikas would be another good option to the Greek one, but it would be difficult, at Utrecht player. Also a good one, was in the extended list too, but honestly, those are difficult. The two Greeks,
Yeah,
but difficult.
What I do want to do is just finish up on Sonny Perkins, because there was a lot of confusion last week after Adam Pope tweeted out, and it all looked like he'd refused to train, and then we found out he was ill. But then we heard from Daniel Farke today that he'll only pick players that'll put it in. It almost felt like he just wasn't doing what was required of him, or he doesn't think. Do we think it's his attitude in training and he's not putting in the work, or is it just a case of he doesn't rate him ability wise? But he clearly has ability, because he came through West Ham. They wanted to keep him. He came on in the Europa Conference League game, I believe, and obviously, I think they tried to take us to some court. There was a bit of issue over that as well, and he's come to Leeds United. Obviously, it's not really worked out. Ben, what did you take to the comments, mate? Because obviously, if you watch the presser, it did come across, it was almost as if he's either throwing the gauntlet down or saying, listen, he doesn't really care.
There's three, for me, this professional footballers, there's three reasons youth players why they don't succeed. One is injuries, two is attitude, and three is mentality, adapting to senior football, right? He's got the talent, that's obvious. He was coming through at West Ham, he was highly touted there, scoring for fun in that league, and then getting Europa League minutes. Not a lot, but at 16, 17, 18, really been talked about as a big thing. Came to Leeds, again, tore up the 23s, but never really progressed. And now we're looking this year. Daniel Farke's comments to me, and Daniel Farke's an honest guy. Yeah. Like, we know that. We've figured that out. I think he rates him because he's talented, but he's frustrated that he's not putting enough into what he needs. And I don't think he'd come out and say it if it was, look, maybe he's ill. Maybe he's one of them where he's, I'm ill. I can't, I'm ill today.
Yeah, maybe, exactly. Yeah.
That's what young players do. I used to do it. Honestly, I was pathetic. But I just don't think he's applying himself as well as Daniel Farke requires it. And he wouldn't out him in the press if he was doing all right, if he was trying. He's clearly not putting in what he needs. And that's the step for him now. And a lot of these young players, they're expecting now being relegated, that they're kind of destined for minutes. But in reality, that's not how it works. You have to constantly progress, and your mentality has to be elite. And if he thinks he should be getting minutes and he isn't, and that's affecting his training, maybe he's just not motivated as much as the others. I don't know. But he's clearly doing something wrong for Daniel Farke to out him like that and not put him on the bench when we're short of players. So that's on him now. How does he react to this? That's down to him. Because he's clearly a talented player and he's got the talent to do it. He's not applying himself enough for me.
As well, Liam, I sort of get where Lockie's coming from there. Can you imagine, as dire as it is right now as a football club, we've got players saying they don't want to play. We've had players wanting to leave and training in different groups. You need to rely on a kid like that. And he turns around and he goes, I'm a little bit ill. Daniel Farke's probably, is he taking the piss? Do you know what I mean? I'm giving him it's true though, isn't it? He would be like, I'm giving him an opportunity. Why ain't he grabbing it with both hands?
100% committed. He's what Daniel Farke said.
Yeah. So
especially that position, right? It's not, we're not blessed with 5 strikers that he's trying to displace in the team. It's a perfect position for him. But yeah, from everything that I know and you hear, that seems to be his kind of stick, that he's not got the best attitude. I know he made some comments about David Moyes when he left West Ham and stuff, and some of the senior West Ham players came out and like laughed it off and were like, there was 2 people that left, him and another lad in midfield, and the West Ham, I can't remember who it was now, whether it was captain or not, if it was Rice, but just talking about like what a joke it was that they made these comments about David Moyes, like almost insinuating that they didn't deserve to be anywhere near the first team with how they were training, and they thought they should have played. And I just feel like maybe that's it. That he was definitely trying to loan him out in January, and I almost wonder if he's the sort of character that was like, well, you didn't want me then, I'm not getting in now. Like Mateo Joseph is playing above me in pre-season. Yeah. Do I really want to stick around? So yeah, for me, I think it's just an attitude problem because the talent's definitely there, and he's a good centre forward in terms of what Farke wants historically, but I just don't think his attitude seems to be right. For him to call out a player, a young player as well, which certainly he doesn't often do. Yeah. That there's clearly something gone on there, and to play with, like you said, 8 on the bench, 2 goalkeepers when we haven't got a striker, and he's just there, and he's like potentially could have played. I think that says a lot. If he's not in the squad on Friday, then I think that tells you everything you need to know about him, his future.
And I remember watching him in 21s last year because it's different this year, but I could watch him all last year, and him and Mateo Joseph, I know they're completely different personalities, but you could tell when Mateo Joseph scored, it meant so much. When Perkins scored, he wouldn't really celebrate. It's kind of like an entitlement that, of course I'm scoring. I like the confidence, I do, but you have to understand when you're going to a first team setting, you're not the big man anymore. You know, you have to work for that. And Mateo Joseph knows that. You can tell he's willing to do everything to play for Leeds, and obviously he's injured right now, but he's definitely one to watch for me when he comes back. But Perkins doesn't, from what I see, he seems to have a bit more of an entitlement, like you just said there, Liam, about time at West Ham. So yeah, it's on him. He's talented enough, and it's annoying because he's a talented player. Yeah. But that's on him. That's his choice.
I agree with both, honestly. Attitude
just before you, because and I wanted to pose this to you, mate. In that Daniel Farke is on record as saying, "I'm critical. If I'm critical about a player, it means I rate them." This is what he said about Archie Gray. He said, "So best believe if I'm being critical of you, it's because I know I can get more. I know you can do more, etc." So I think that also ties in with what Liam was saying and Ben was saying, that he is a good player, and it's almost as if he's calling him out in the press to maybe even get a response potentially. Because if I'm him, I'm going, "Oh God!" I mean, this is where his attitude comes into it. Does he see that and go, "Oh, the fact that I've played for West Ham in Europa League," or does he go, "Do you know what? There's a chance here. If I put my head down and show him, then I might get that opportunity."
Yeah, but the first problem emerged after the League One match, against Rosebery. The reaction wasn't there, evidently, versus Birmingham, because he wasn't involved in that squad. He wasn't included in that squad either. So it's clear nothing problem. I agree with both Liam and Loki. And honestly, there's better players in the youth team. Mateo Joseph is better than him. He's worked harder than him, probably. Yeah. Of course, maybe the player is frustrated because of the lack of opportunities he had, but you have to earn them. They don't fall from the sky, So just to take an example, the England international, they came, and Mateo Joseph, Dean Scarlett from Tottenham last season, it was on loan at Portsmouth, for example, at the start of the season. So honestly, also to send a message and see, let's see what he can do, because if he wants to leave Leeds, I don't see him playing for another championship club, honestly, right now, because he hasn't improved anything. He just had a bit of a little taste at senior football with West Ham and Leeds when he played and scored versus Cardiff. But honestly, the best solution for him, I think, would be a loan to a League One top club, honestly, to prove himself and see what he can do. Then we can talk about his level. Yeah, and it's a good test, because a player that has been through the West Ham Academy, the Academy of Football they used to call it, and then another good academy like Leeds, and involved with Leeds, it's not automatic to reset your mind and find yourself in League One. You have to accept that and adapt to the League One mindset. And you were playing in, you having your debut in the Europa League, and now you find yourself playing against Cheltenham and other clubs like that, Fleetwood, and it's a good opportunity, by the way, because you play in a league which is tough, very long, like the Championship, and there's some good clubs in there, Derby County, Barnsley, so Blackpool, for example. There's some good opportunities. Look at Clarke. He break through the team under Bielsa, had a great season, was sold to Spurs, came back, didn't have probably a good attitude or a good fitness, and was basically left out of the squad because he had one or two opportunities during that season, and then in January Spurs recalled him back and sold him out on loan to QPR. Then he moved to Sunderland when they were in League One. That's quite the step, backwards from a highly rated superstar, breaking through from a good academy like Leeds, sold to a Premier League club like Spurs, find yourself back in League One at the top club like Sunderland. Looking at where he is now, Premier League clubs interested in him. One of the top wingers in the Championship, English top wingers in the Championship. It's up to him. If he gets back, if he goes to a League One club on loan, has a great season, maybe he can be considered again by the manager later on in the season if we need some players because of injuries. Hopefully not, or maybe next season in pre-season. He can have a chance like Matteo Joseph had during this pre-season before he got injured.
Yeah, 100%. Now we've done an hour and 6 minutes, so we'll bring it to a close. Obviously tomorrow night, folks, we'll be live doing at 9 o'clock doing a West Brom preview. Lockie and Andrea have been hard at work. Having a look at West Brom, it's going to be a tough test. I think I would argue, without even going through the thing yet, probably the toughest test we've faced this season. I think we've only got a point on the board, so let's see how that one goes on Friday. But let's and White Rose Rivals will be back tomorrow at 6 as well. So you've got 6 and you've also got 1 at 9. But let's get some score predictions just now, just off the whim before we actually do any work. I think we're going to get beat, if I'm being totally honest. I do, just because I think there's too much going on. But like you say, no pressure, Lockie. I think maybe 2-1. 2-1. Someone keeps mentioning Bradley Dack, by the way. He's gone to Sunderland, folks. He's already gone. He's left. He's gone Sunderland, okay? Liam?
I'm ever the optimist. So 1-0 Leeds, clean sheet.
Leeds.
And and I don't think we'll create many chances, but maybe a goal from a corner or set piece, something like that. And
here's a question for you, bro. How long ago do you think it is since we had a clean sheet?
I listened the other day, so I heard it's like 6 months or something.
6 months, man. 6 months.
I think that might change with Rodon and
Rodon
in the side. Yeah, I really rate Rodon. So yeah. I think I'll go 1-0, but I just don't get beat just because the attitude of the fans are starting to turn now. You don't have a home game and then get beat by Carlos of all people who half the fans wanted originally. So yeah, I'm going to go 1-0 win, but I don't think it'll be in a crazy exciting game. I just think we look a lot more steady at the back in terms, apart from maybe one position. So I think that we'll keep a clean sheet hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully, I hope you're right. But should we save Lockie's and Andreas for tomorrow? Or do you want to give them? Go on then, give them.
No.
Yeah, go on.
You want them now? Well, right now, and I really think we should know more about Adams because, of course, he said that he's back in training, but he didn't. Clarke, of course, he didn't say the level of fitness he has. So we don't know if he's starting, if he's on the bench, or if he's not ready at all to be involved in the squad. But if he's not, honestly, I think West Brom are really physical in midfield, but they have a lot of pace too going forward. So I think that we will suffer a lot in midfield. It will be a very difficult game. I think we'll get beat 2-1 because they'll be very fast, especially knowing how Carlos plays. Of course, he's not the carbon copy of Bielsa. He's really adaptable, to certain situation. But in this case, I don't think he'll sit back and be more defensive minded. But I think from the start, from kickoff, he'll try to take the game to us. Try to attack us.
Save that now. Save that. You're giving away the game for tomorrow. You're giving away the game for tomorrow. Save that. And do you know what? We're going to save Ben Locks as well. We're going to save Ben Locks.
There's much more. There's much more. Trust me.
Yeah,
We're gonna
of
go
course.
very deep tomorrow on the preview, in terms of analysis.
Definitely. And I'm yawning my head off, so I think that's time. There's been a lot of love for Liam as well in the chat, which is great to see. So thank you very much for coming on, Liam. Where can people find your musings? I know you're heavily involved in NFL. We do get a lot of American viewers, especially at this time. So talk to people, man.
Yeah, so on Twitter, I'm @_Liam Horsley, and then I'm part of the Full 10 Yards podcast group for NFL. So yeah, you can just find us on Twitter at Full 10 Yards, basically, and we talk all things NFL. So yeah, if there's any Americans that want to listen to us to see if we make any sense of it, they can come over and have a listen. But yeah, I'll be tweeting all Friday night probably about my opinions of the game. So yeah, you can follow me over there.
Nice. They'll probably listen to it and be like, daft English talking about our game. They haven't got a clue. That's what it's like.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I know what. I'll stop talking till I get called all sorts. Lockie, anything? I guess you'll have done a bit of a deep dive already into West Brom that people can get a sneak peek of over on your channel right now.
I haven't. No, that'll be
okay.
tomorrow, early tomorrow, before 12, hopefully tomorrow, or before 3 o'clock. Yeah.
Okay.
Do some analysis on them. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really sorry about your yawning, folks. It's been a long day. But yeah, Michael Gott says I'm into FNL. I'm tired. I'm into NFL, American rugby. So I'll certainly listen to that. So yeah, please do it. Listen, folks, thanks as always for supporting the channel. I've had loads of videos out today and they've all done really, really well. So I'm really, really grateful. We're getting so close to 23k and it seems 2 minutes ago we hit 22. So thank you for that. Smash a like, subscribe to my channel, subscribe to Lockie's. Go check out Liam's podcast, which is the Full 10 Yards.
Yeah.
Got it right. And make sure you check Andrea out as well. Thanks always for watching, and we'll see you again soon. Peace out, folks.